right, so we're at our local Stihl dealership, Ron Ayers. This is not Ron, this is Derek.
This is Derek Stewart.
And we're going to talk about, to me, one of the most confusing aspects of outdoor power equipment. Because there's just so many options. Not that it's necessarily that confusing, there's just, I mean, there's like tons of options. So, Derek.
Guys, I can't guarantee you won't leave this video probably more confused because the more it seems like I try to teach about chainsaw chains, the more people look at me with those deer in headlights look. So if we look at most common chains used on Stihl chainsaws, a little bit of brief history. Stihl is the only manufacturer in the world that makes their own chain. They make their own bars, and they're the only company that pre-stretches their chain in steel rollers. So you get what you pay for when you get a Stihl chain.
And I will tell you on that, I don't know what you're paying at your local dealer, but if you're buying chain from a big box store or an online discount retailer, we've done this, go into your Stihl dealer, say, look, what can we do? And their pricing, once you actually shop around, I mean, the pricing isn't any different.
It's less than 10 to 20% cost difference. And if you look at the longevity you get out of the chain, you're going to make up that money on the chain, because the chains will last longer, guys. Not just because we say so, but they really do last longer. So common chains, if we look at a lot of our newer pole saws and some of our small battery powered products, they're using this new 1/4 inch Pico chain. Now some of you guys may know about the old 1/4 inch chain that we used to have back on like 011s and stuff. This is a newer version. It's not the same thing. This is going to have a lot less drag, so this is going to help those smaller products eat through. That pole saw will be less likely to pinch. And also gives you guys wanted bigger bars, and the only way we could get those bigger bars without getting that load was we got to go to these smaller chains.
Okay, so explain this to me. So I got this box here. You said that's 1/4, this is 3/8. What are you referring to?
So this is 1/4 inch Pico.
Okay,
so,
that's 1/4 inch Pico.
Yep.
Like this one is
3/8 Pico. Yep.
What is that
so
measurement?
what's this referring to, guys, is the measurement from your tie strap to the connecting tie strap. If you look on the bottom of your box, it'll say 1/4 inch Pico, and it shows that measurement between here. So basically, it's the length of the tie strap.
When you're talking about the length of the tie strap, whether it's on a little 12-inch pole saw, or we've got some 404, which goes on a huge machine, it's all referring to the length of the tie strap.
Yes, correct.
Okay, so that's the first. Is that the first thing we need to know?
That's the first thing that you should know. The second thing that you want to know about your chain is the gauge of the chain, and that's the width of the bar, okay, that your drag link falls into. Okay, so what we need to know is the measure of the width or the gauge of that drag link or bar.
Okay, and that is the part that actually goes in the bar.
That's the part that the actual drag link fits down into the bar of the chain. The next is your number of drag link counts. So this is referring to the number of drag links. Those are your links that move the chain.
Those are the little parts that go in that spin around.
Now, it's a little bit more difficult. So when we count these chains, a lot of times we'll hold them out and you hold them up parallel, and you'll count the tie straps down 2 at a time. So if you want to know, well, I don't know what chain I have, the information on my bar is gone, you could take your chain into your local dealer. We can count the number of straps, and they can also use a gauge tool to measure the gauge of the bar or gauge of that chain, so that then they know what chain you have.
He just said something, and I just want to make sure I point that you got this right. On the Stihl bar, it's actually like laser etched what chain goes with that bar, correct?
So yes, if you have a factory Stihl bar, it will have all that information on the bar, unless it's been pinched and rubbed off. Then it may be hard to see.
That's another reason. If you got a Stihl saw, don't go throw a aftermarket bar on it. Stick with the Stihl bar. It's designed for it. It knows exactly what kind of chain goes with it. And then if you need a chain and you take your chain into the place, or you got your bar, just snap a picture of that off your bar, go in, they can give you exactly what you need.
And if you guys are big supporters of American-made products, most of our bar and chains are made here in the U.S. And a lot of other companies can't say that.
They're made in Virginia Beach?
Yeah, we have a plant in Virginia Beach, a bar plant in Virginia Beach as of a few years back.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay, so we've got our tie strap length.
Yep, you got your
gauge. Yeah, your pitch, your gauge,
and your drag link count.
Drag link count. Then what's the other thing?
That's pretty much it, because that's going to tell you. You could say the length, but if you have all that information, that's going to determine the length of what saw or bar you're working with. So like this chain, for instance.
I got you. So
this is a 1/4 inch Pico, 43 gauge, and it's a 56 drag link. Well, that will only fit that, what is this, a 10 inch? This is going to fit a 10 inch pole saw. So this will fit like our HT56.
So you can't put a 10 inch chain on a 16 inch saw. I mean, it's just
it's not going to work.
Okay. So that is the 3 things on knowing what size chain, right?
That's correct.
So what are the differences with
the types of chain?
Okay, so now we got different types.
Yeah,
so it can be the same size chain.
And this can get real confusing, guys. There's a ton of different cutters out there, and some of you guys have preferences on what you like.
When you say cutters, that's the actual.
We're talking about how the cutter is shaped itself.
The part that does the cutting.
Yes.
Okay.
So if you look at a steel chain, it'll say something that these 3639, that determines what this is. This type of chain, like this is a 26 RS. Okay. This is going to be a more aggressive chain. This doesn't have the safety feature built into this chain.
Okay, hold on. Before we go there,
the 26 RSS, that's the type of chain, which will also be, this number is what that means. And then this is a yellow box chain, so it's, it doesn't have the safety features on it.
Okay.
So if we look at the chain here, guys, we can see that this is a yellow chain and this is a green box chain. Despite popular belief also, yellow chains do not cut faster, guys. And I say that, and I know there's going to be a bunch of negative comments up here and a bunch of mean people saying something just the opposite. But I've done this test over and over again with Stihl on a stopwatch with these 2 chains side by side. And big man, small man, doesn't matter. He cannot make this chain or this chain cut any faster than the other one.
So then what's the difference between green and yellow?
The only difference is that we see here, well, one, the RS, that's referring to the style cutter it is. So if we notice, it's I don't know if you guys can see it in this image or not, but that's a square edge on that cutter, okay, versus the rounded edge here.
Okay, so you're talking about this edge. Okay.
Yes. So this will be a more comfortable chain to operate, and due to the anti-kickback features that they have here. Now notice there used to be an old RM3 style chain that did limit our cutting abilities. They've long gone away from that, and now there's your normal depth gauge on a regular style chain.
So that's your depth gauge.
Yep. And all they do here, guys, is they tuck this little safety or anti-kickback feature. They tuck that behind that depth gauge. So you're not really limiting the saw on how it cuts anymore. And that's why we don't really see any performance issues. As a matter of fact, this chain will actually get duller quicker than this chain will. Right. And it's a lot. Now, chainsaws are never safe to use, guys. We're obviously never going to advocate that chainsaws are safe. But this is definitely going to have less kickback than this chain. And guys, people die and get hurt every year due to chainsaw accidents. So we encourage you to use these chains on your saw whenever you can.
Okay. Okay, so now we know, do you want a square cutter, a rounded cutter, and whether you need the safety, the green
anti-kickback feature.
Anti-kickback are some other options within the same size chain, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you can have those 2 chains, same size chain, one has different features inside the chain. Okay. And then, so what's the next thing?
So then Stihl came out with an affordable Duramatic style chain several years back, and you know this, you guys use this, you won't use anything but this chain.
This chain, and these are prices listed, I guess.
The list price on that chain is probably about $75.
Where's the comparable chain?
Comparable chain would be the Green Pack chain. So if we look at what we can sell the chain for versus what the stock chain is, we're going to have a chain here, guys, that will last, and I'm not exaggerating when I say this, it will last 10 times longer than a standard chain, and it does not cost 10 times more. It's literally about double the cost, and that chain will last 10 times longer without sharpening it.
That's not just a sales gimmick. We used to run these chains, and we have operators that are trained on the safe use of chainsaws. You know, if a tree falls down, we've got to go clean it up for our customer. We are not loggers. We are not, I am a certified arborist, so we know about techniques, but we are not in the tree business. We're in the landscape maintenance business. We use these chains a lot. Then we had to teach people how to sharpen chains. When we switched to this carbide tip chain, we can put this chain on, and we haven't had to sharpen one yet. The only problem we had, tree was laying on a parking lot, guy across the road wasn't paying attention, went and cut down, He actually cut into the asphalt about a ½ an inch. Finished the day, sent me a picture, finished the day, the chain was still good, there was just a couple teeth that were rough on top. So this is all we use for the money. If you think it takes, what, 10 minutes to switch out a chain?
Yeah, it doesn't take that long at all.
10 minutes to switch out a chain, but if you got to do that 4 or 5 times, whereas you can just put this on and use it, I mean, you'll save time.
You save a lot of time, you save a lot of money, guys.
And a lot of headache, because when you take a chain out and a chainsaw, I mean, most people don't take extra files if they're just using it occasionally.
And most people don't know that they can't hit the dirt. You know, they make a cut, the tree's on the ground, they make that cut. And they don't realize that chain's no good after 1 or 2 plunges in the dirt. That chain's ruined. If
you're cutting any type of roots or any type of oaks or trees that have crotches that dirt gets in, you're going to hit dirt. So, I mean, we love this chain. This is all we use. So that's buy home sales pitch.
That's right.
Okay, so that's just a brief overview. I know this video is probably going to be like 5 or 6 minutes long, but we could go into this for a long time. There's a lot of different options and features on Stihl chain. I would recommend, if you're using a Stihl chainsaw, stick with the Stihl chain. It's not that much more expensive, Stihl bar, and when you've got a problem, your Stihl dealer can't blame it on the chain if you're using an aftermarket chain. So if you got any questions, post them below. We'll see you later.